how do you say, the gorgeous.
What is love?
Just hold me tight, no words are needed.
Afternoon, everybody. I hope you're well today. Welcome to my channel. If you haven't liked to subscribe, please do. It really helps the channel grow. I wanted to go through a couple of updates. Obviously, the fantastic news that Gareth Southgate's resigned, which is brilliant, which is probably the best news we could have ever had. After that absolute shambolic display, England in the final. Our best player of the whole tournament seemed to be the guy that came off the bench and didn't start a match. You know, our second best player was probably Mark Gahey, which we'll talk about as well, because we're heavily linked with Mark Gahey. And we should be all quite excited about that because he looks like a sensational player. It also looks like that's the reason why we probably pulled out of the Lenny Yoro transfer debacle, because the performances of Gahey across the entire tournament, especially in the final, really does have to push Liverpool in that direction now with a £65 million transfer, which is very much possible. Lots of other links. Obviously, want to cover some updates on players coming back. Also, FSG pulled out of the Bordeaux deal. We'll cover that. Some of our players, younger players, have been called up to under 21 international, which we'll talk about. We'll also have a look at some videos of players coming back into training. We can also cover any questions you've got on the chat, which is great. I'm probably going to do 40 minutes maybe today. I haven't got a huge amount to cover. However, it's been a few days. Players are coming back. More links are coming back up. New players are now linked. See where we go. Big up. Right. Okay. So we will start off with a nice little video of the players coming back, which I'll add to stage. Cool. Let me just play this. So Robbo came back. Also Dominic Szoboszlai. Also Jaros. Because remember, Jaros was away with the Czechia team. He's going to be our third choice goalkeeper. If the Alisson links continue with Saudi Arabia, then he might end up being our second choice goalkeeper. But at the moment, he's been penciled in as our third choice goalkeeper. Lots of hugs with Slot. I think Dom's got a huge season ahead. I've been listening to people talk about Dom and just thinking he's a flop and he's just not. He wasn't worth it. I mean, he's only had one season. I mean, he scored 7 goals from midfield and he had a bad season. I mean, it's not that bad, really, is it? He scored 7 goals in a bad season. If you noticed, he was sat at the table with Curtis Jones. Curtis Jones is really impressing the manager and the new coaches. I think Curtis Jones might well get added to the leadership group if they do another leadership group like Klopp did. He's really looking like someone who's acting like a senior player now, Curtis Jones. It's going to be great to see what the future holds for him. He could end up being our defensive midfielder type player under Slot. I think he could do that job as like a kind of number 6 type player. As you can see Jaros there, big lad, shaking hands with Dom. He's back in training now. I think if Dom gets played in the right position next season, then I think he'll be golden, and I'm counting on 10 assists, 10 goals from him. Next, we're going to cover. Let me just stop that video. Next, we're going to cover this one, which I think is a really interesting one. It's here. Where are we? Yeah, this one here. We're going to cover this one because personally, I think this is a transfer that could happen. And the reason why I say it is he's a player that we've looked at before. He's a player that has now progressed into the kind of numbers and data which would put him top of our list. And he's also a player that Slot really likes. And if we are looking at a player which can cover Salah, then this is the guy, and it's Frimpong. And I'll go over a little bit more about it. So he's top of our list now, like 100%. David Ornstein's talked about it as well now. The Netherlands international can operate as right back, right wing back, and the right side of midfield, or on the right wing. And that's the point we need to get across, or on the right wing. Frimpong's marauding displays up and down the right side are a huge part of Xabi Alonso's Leverkusen winning team. Understand he's got a £35 million release clause. I have no idea why no one's activated that. I really haven't. Frimpong. Frimpong's chances of leaving Bundesliga are about 60%. Sky Germany are reporting that he wants to move to Liverpool. There's a couple of Florent Plettenberg is the latest person to talk about this. If signed, Frimpong would compete with Trent. However, Trent could move into midfield, and then Frimpong could play as the right back with Conor Bradley as backup, or Trent could play as right back. Conor Bradley can be back up to him, and Frimpong could be back up to Salah. The potential signing of Frimpong might not be positive news for everyone at Anfield. You know, Conor Bradley could be the person that maybe doesn't get as much game time if Frimpong's there. However, Conor Bradley's literally just started playing for Liverpool last season. You know, Conor Bradley shouldn't be playing as the first team right back next season, all season. That's just not how it should go. He should be gradually brought into the team. So I think Frimpong would be a great addition to the team because he can play everywhere on the right. He's a relatively cheap option. I'm not sure why my screen keeps on freezing. I'm going to close that. See if that helps. It doesn't. Okay. Also, we've now completely pulled out of the Lenny Yoro transfer, but debacle. For some reason, we were in this transfer debacle. Like, he's never coming to Liverpool. he was never coming to Liverpool, and he's never going to Manchester United. He was always waiting to go to Real Madrid. He was always waiting to go to Real Madrid. Like, Real Madrid were going to do what they always do. And they basically sound out that he's already interested in them, and they're the ones that are getting him. And then everybody pulls out of the deal, and then Real Madrid get him on the cheap. Like, Real Madrid are doing it with 3 players. They're doing it with Frimpong, they're doing it Alphonso Davies, and they're trying it with Virgil van Dijk. But it's not going to happen with Virgil. But Frimpong is willing to wait for another year, and so is Alphonso Davies, which means that their clubs that they play for might have to reduce the price if they want to sell them this year. I think he'll probably go for about 40 million euros or 40 million quid. They might get a little bit more off Real Madrid. They've accepted like 42 million, I think, off Manchester United. Real Madrid just need to put another 5 million in it probably, and he'll go. He's probably already agreed terms. The reason why we pulled out is we probably spoke to him and he's probably said, look, I'm going to Real Madrid. And we're just like, okay, we're not going to bother waiting around now. And by looking at the performances of Mark Gahey for England in the Euros, I think maybe we're going to pull the trigger on that one instead. I think Gahey's sensational. He's not tall, which is an interesting one. However, he played really well and he won a lot of headers in the Euros. So I think we're probably going to move for that signing, or we could go for an Asio, who I'm going to bring back up again in a minute, which is this one here. So an Asio's now come back into the media again. A Jogo in Portugal claims that Liverpool will struggle to sign an Asio. The vendor is one of the brightest talents. It's seen that an Asio linked with an exit all year long. Rumours of Liverpool interest strongly surfaced last February. He was talks of him as a Joel Matip placement. Obviously, this is 4 hours ago from Sam Maguire on Crystal Palace. Mark Gahey, 50 million is the buyout clause for an Asio, which is cheaper than Gahey, but we'll talk about Gahey now because it's here. European Copa America over. Richard Hughes said that he said in his press conference anyway that we're not going to do any business until the end of July and August. Gahey's obviously on holiday now for a couple of weeks. However, we can definitely discuss a deal with him. Fabrizio Romano has said that we are heavily linked and interested with Gahey now. He's only 24. He's played in the Premier League for 2 years now. He's only got 2 years left on his contract. He's got 73 Premier League starts for Crystal Palace. He did get a knee problem last year, which is why he didn't play enough. But when he came back, look how good he was in the Euros. Gahey's got an 87% success rate with his passing. Really good passer of the ball. Very rarely injured. Can play right across the back line, by the way. He can play left back, centre back, and right back if we need him to. The only thing is he's quite short, which is something we don't normally go for. But his numbers are fantastic, and he's definitely a potential. And if we've now got some of the big journos talking about him, there's an opportunity there, especially if we get it done quick. 65 million is kind of the number, which is what's getting talked about. I'll talk about another defender as well. So we're interested in Simikan, who's a French under-21 international who plays for Leipzig. He's a centre-back that can also play right-back. I find it really interesting that we're linked with a lot of centre-back, right-backs at the moment, which is a bit odd when we are clearly stacked in that position, which is interesting because we are stacked. You know, we've got Trent, we've got Bradley, we've got Quonset, and we've got Kanate, all on that side as the right centre back, right back. So the fact that we're linked with a Frimpong, we're linked with a Gahey who doesn't play on the left. He plays on the right. Actually, he played on the left for England. So that's an interesting one. So maybe he could be the guy that is back up for. Maybe he is the guy that's back up for Virgil. That's an interesting one. I haven't thought of that because he did play on the left for England. However, this guy is also linked as well, but I think he's going to cost like 30, 40 million. Okay, so we could cost in the region of 38 million. So Philippines, we hear from Spain and hear from England, Spain that LFC and Atletico Madrid have expressed an interest in Simikan. He's 24, 40 to 45 million euros. Simikan's not interested in moving, by the way, but he's not against moving. So 32 games last season, 2 goals, 3 assists, 85% pass, 2 tackles per 90, 2 aerial duels per 90. He was a good player. He was a good player for them. He's broke into their team. Personally, I don't think he's a guy we need, if I'm honest. But we'll see. And I'll bring up the statements about pulling the plug on the Bordeaux deal, which I'll just bring up here. Is it on my screen? Yeah, it's on my screen. What do you think about Simikan, by the way? I'll ask the chat. What do you think about Simikan? You think that's a play we need? And Frimpong, do you think Frimpong's maybe a play we should look at? You can play anywhere on the right-hand side. That's right, Ivy Stella, we were linked with him a while ago. It could be lazy journalism, or it could just be the committee. Now that we've got Hughes and Edwards in, that they're like, okay, let's have a look at previous targets because Jürgen didn't want them. So Liverpool owners were looking to buy the French side, who were demoted to the 3rd tier because of financial issues. The Boston Group are aiming to increase their portfolio. However, after meeting Bordeaux officials, FSG have released a statement to confirm the discussions have now ended. It is said following extensive and constructive discussions with all stakeholders, Fenway have made a decision not to pursue the acquisition of Bordeaux. We would like to express our gratitude to the chairman and the members of DNCG for giving us the opportunity to meet with them, and thank all within Bordeaux and beyond their collaboration. Despite our disappointment at not being able to find a viable outcome, we wish the club its supporters best possible future. Bordeaux statement reveals that the cost of stadium repairs and economics of French football meant why talks broke down. Bordeaux and its shareholders have informed Fenway Group its desire not to pursue discussions initiated in recent weeks with a view to purchasing the club. The decision is explained in particular by the significant cost of the stadium in the years to come, but also the general economic context of French football. The club and its shareholders are now putting all their energy into finalising a plan. So basically, I mean, you can sit here and say we pulled out because of money. We probably pulled out because the club's been so badly run over the years, like really badly run. And because French football still hasn't even got a TV deal sorted out. French football's in turmoil. the club's been really badly run and the ground's completely in tatters. Like, that is a fact. There's a number of reasons why we probably pulled out, and it was probably because, yeah, we might buy 50% of the club or 51% of the club, the shares, which will cost like 54 million, which you may think that's a bargain. But then if we've got to spend 100 million on getting the club back up to scratch, and you're still in the second division, so you're not even into the first division, then that's going to be an issue. And maybe they're looking for something that has got less issues, and they can just purchase the club, and they don't have to invest so much into it. It's probably not what they need right now, especially with PSR, FPP, and also the fact that they've also bought a huge stake in PGA golf. So maybe it's a little bit too rich for them, and it could be a blessing in disguise. It could have distracted quite a lot of their attention away from Liverpool, so we don't know. However, that's a bit of an update on that. Also wanted to cover this. Where is it? This one here. Just get rid of the sound. Okay. So Richard Hughes can give Liverpool a 131 million transfer boost after crescendo prediction. So what we're looking at is we're looking at departures. Okay, where are we? Okay, so Queven Keller as a possible departure. So we're looking at around 30 million for him. Seth van den Berg, we're looking at around 25 million for him. So Mainz and PSV have inquired about him. Nat Phillips and Reece Williams should get around 9 million. Kostas Tsimikas should get around 19 million. Tyler Morton should get around 22 million. And Fabio Carvalho should get around, how much was that? It didn't say how much for Carvalho. However, Diaz should get around 78 million, they think, or 60 million, sorry. So that adds up to about 130 million. That's kind of what this is saying. So with players leaving the club, they think we're probably going to rake in about 130 million. That's dollars, so that should be about what, 90, so about 100 million pounds in players leaving, which can then be invested back into the club. It also depends who we're looking to sign. Like, we might sell a few players, but we might not sign anybody. We came third last season, and we were right in the thick of it all the way to the end of the season. We just ran out of steam. I mean, for me, the real reason I feel is we brought Robbo back in and disjointed the team, because we had a really settled back four with the likes of Gomez, Virgil van Dijk, Quansah, and Bradley really playing well for a number of games. And we took Bradley out, put Trent in, and took Gomez out and put Robbo in, and I just think we fell to pieces with the imbalance in the team. Also, yeah, Ivy Stella spot on. Losing Jota when Salah came back, and then losing Salah was a massive loss, because we lost Jota and Salah for a number of weeks. But really, I think it was Robbo, like, if I'm honest, because we brought Robbo back straight after the cup and didn't look great. We didn't look great since. Robbo might have looked our best player, but Robbo didn't help us. Like the imbalance in the team was just there to be seen, because you've got Robbo bombing forward, you've got Trent inverting, so you've got basically two at the back most of the game. At least with Gomez, you had Gomez who could fill in a centre back. You had Gomez that made us look more stable. We conceded less goals with him. We conceded less goals first with Gomez in the team. That's just a fact. We kind of fell off for like 2 weeks, and that was it. The season was done because we were out of the cup. We were out of the we were out of the FA Cup, Europa League, and the Prem, all in the space of 2 weeks. All in the space of 2 weeks, because we lost against Man United, we lost against Atalanta, we lost against Crystal Palace, and we lost against Everton, and we were done. Literally, we were done. If we'd won against Manchester United, we'd have probably kicked on and we'd have probably beaten Atalanta. And then we might well have just been able to maybe get a draw against Palace, or even win against Palace, get a draw against Everton, and I think we'd have been home and hosed. We'd have had everything behind us. There was too much change, bringing players back in who destabilised the team was just poor management, just expecting everyone to just come back into the team and carry on like they never left. Like they were crap before they got injured. Big problems, just really poor management. And if we were that close and we had that big a squad and we were missing maybe one player, which was a defensive midfielder, you know, do we need to sign anyone? Really, do we need to sign anyone? Like, can Gomez not play left back next season? Like, he was potentially the best left back in the league last season. Can he not just play left back next season? Like, is there any reason why he shouldn't? He played half a season as left back, like, and was absolutely fantastic. Probably our third best player, like last season for me. You know, it's an interesting one. And nothing about him leaving has come back up again. So maybe that was just a bit of poor media work. You know, he's away on holiday now. He'll come back into the team. He's 26, settled under a new contract for a few years. Can play left, can play right, can play centre. You know, for me, maybe bump him ahead of Robbo. Maybe have him as your first choice left back next season and Robbo as your backup. I'm fine with that. Sell Simicast, not needed. Maybe have Owen Beck as your third choice. I ain't got an issue with it. I know that the slot plays kind of a lopsided, wingers and centre back. Sorry, and left back, right backs. Like one is a marauder, one is a sticker. Same on the wings. One goes, one stays. Maybe that's the reason why we link with Frimpong, because he wants him to be a more advanced right-sided winger. Maybe Salah could be coming inside more. Maybe Salah could be playing as a 10. Maybe Salah could be playing as a 9 next season. The fact that we're linked with him is interesting. And he started scoring bags of goals. I'm going to bring up his numbers actually on the screen here for Frimpong. I really think Frimpong could be like a Gareth Bale for us. I really do. So I've got him up on the screen here. Let me just make that bigger. There you go. Yeah, so numbers on Frimpong. Last season in the Bundesliga, 27 starts, 9 goals, 7 assists, 16 GA from a right back. Quite incredible. In the cup, 3 goals, 3 assists in 5 games, unbelievable numbers. In the Europa League, 6 starts, 3 goals in the Europa League. Like, the guy was on some really, really good form. Season before, by the way, same numbers, 8 goals, 7 assists. You know, this, you know, for me, he's got the data. For me, he's got the data now. If he was a one-hit wonder like a Nunes or a Diaz that we signed, Gapco wasn't a one-hit wonder. Gapco had about 3 years worth of data, which was solid data behind him. Um, I think Frimpong really is ready to hit the straps, like to really push on and get that big move. So if you look at his shooting numbers, he had 20 shots, 7 on target in the Europa League. He scored 3 goals. He had 12 shots, 5 on target. He scored 3 goals. And in the Bundesliga, he had 21 shots on target. He scored 9 goals. Like, his numbers are crazy. Like, he is crazy accurate. Like, he doesn't have a huge amount of shots, but the shots he has, he scores as goals. Like, he's over 50% for goals to shots ratio. Like, his numbers are like his number conversion is better than Jota. Like, so can you imagine getting Frimpong in that position more? Then you'll score more goals. Like, that's just a fact. I really, really feel that could be a shrewd signing. £34 million. I mean, you're guaranteed 10 goals, 10 assists. You guaranteed it just off his numbers from the right back position. I mean, if you're putting him more advanced and you're putting him in front of goal more, then he could easily hit 15-15. Like, the amount of positions we get our players into for Liverpool is phenomenal. Like Diaz had over 100 shots last season. Nunes had over 120 shots last season. Like, we had more shots than any other team in the Prem last season. Like this guy had 55 in total, 21 on target, and scored 9 goals. Like, I feel like he's ready. Like, he could be a really good player. And he came from Man City as well, by the way, in case you didn't know. And came from the Man City academy. Yeah, so in total he scored 25 goals for Leverkusen off 61 shots on target and 160 shots in total. Like, his shot on target ratio is 38%. Like, he's 38% from a right back. Like, Nunez's was 12 from a forward who was literally in front of the goal most of the time. Like Nunez's positions must have been so much more clear cut than Frimpong's, and Frimpong's numbers just blow him out of the water. We're heavily linked with him. Fabrizio Romano is now talking about it, and so is David Ornstein. He's obviously finished his international duty now. He's on holiday. We could be in talks. 34 million release clause means we don't even need to talk to the club. We just need to talk to the player. If we're talking to the player, then it's a done deal. We just activate the release clause and it's over. It's a really interesting one. I think it will develop if we are looking at someone as a Salah backup because Salah leaves next year. I think Frimpong's the guy. He's 20. He's 24. No, 23. He's still only 23. I mean, he's 23. I mean, I mean, he's younger than Gakpo. Like, yeah, I mean, I'm all for it. I'm all for it. Like, I'm all for that guy. And he can also play as a right back. Like, if we need him, um, I'm all for it. Get him in for me. If you're moving Trent into midfield, which may be an option, um, then you're going to need a first team right back. Frimpong can be that, and then you've also got the backup for Salah. He kind of dual boots. Yeah, I know. That's a worry as well. That is a worry that he will take him to Madrid, but I think he'll take Florian Wirtz to Madrid. I don't think he can take the entire frigging team, but I think he'll take Florian Wirtz. If we could get Frimpong, if we can get Frimpong, that would be sensational. Um, I, I've got more stuff on him anyway. Um, so this one is from Fabrizio Romano. Obviously we're looking at centre back. So Romano said we like the looks of Simican, which is interesting. We're also linked with Inacio again. I think this is just lazy journalism, if I'm honest. And obviously, people are talking about Gahey. 60 million could get Gahey. I think that's one to look at, you know. I mean, if he's on the list, if Gahey was on the list, and say he was third on the list, like say he was third on the list, Gahey, and Yoro was top, yeah, and then you've got the likes of, maybe Inakape or Inacio or William Pancho. William Pancho hasn't covered himself in much glory in the Copa America. But you have to look at Gahey and go, hang on a minute, this guy's Premier League proven, English, homegrown, had a fantastic Euros, had a great season with Palace, can play right across the back line, came from Chelsea's academy, produced some brilliant players, available for 60 million. No one's taken a bite at him. Crystal Palace are a selling club. I think he'd be going right up the top of the list now. The interesting one with Edison is Edison still looks like a player that could leave. However, Timo Kupermeyers is another one, so it's either one or the other. The fact that he's gone quiet is an interesting one. My screen's freezing up again. Sorry. This guy is available, but I do feel like we are looking for players that have got the data to back them up. So the likes of Inacio's had 3 good seasons. He didn't have great Euros, but he never really got played. It's not really his fault. They wanted to play a 41-year-old instead, which is ludicrous. I think maybe we pulled out the Murillo one because he's expensive and he's only had 1 year. We're linked with Yao Gomez from Wolves. He's got 2 years behind him. El Nouri, he's got 3 years behind him. Gahey, 2 years behind him. we're looking at the players that have got a bit more data behind them, as in they're proven. But I do feel like we're probably going to stick in the Premier League for a number of players. It would make sense that we stick in the Premier League for a defender. I mean, you brought up Antonio Silva. I just don't think we're gonna pay the prices that Benfica want. And he had a stinky Euros, really bad Euros. Big up Baz. Hope you're well, mate. Yeah, I feel like there's a number of players that we could start looking at in more detail. Maybe looking into their contracts. Maybe speaking to their clubs more. I think Frimpong is one which we probably looked at last year. Maybe thought we couldn't get him out of the club, or maybe there was a conversation with Xabi Alonso. He might bring him with him if he became our new manager. Well, obviously he's not now, so now we might be the case of, okay, then we'll just go and get him anyway, which makes sense. And the fact that he's now finished the Euros means that we can now start talking to players. After watching the Euros, yeah, I'm interested in Gahey now. I think that's a guy that could do a great job for us. I think he would be better than Canate. You know, if Virgil left for whatever reason, you know, we're going to need a first choice centre back, and I don't think Quansah is ready for that. I don't think Bradley's ready for that. They're still 21 years old, 20 years old. You know, they haven't played more than 40 games for us yet. You know, they haven't played a full season really. So it's a case of, are you really going to throw those two into the fire? Gahey's Premier League proven, England international now, probably our best player, if I'm honest, behind Cole Palmer. I'd be interested in that one. Very versatile as well. What else have I got? I haven't got a huge amount to cover. Yeah, that's pretty much all I've got today. Obviously, Kieran Morrison has been called up to the under-21s, which is interesting. I'll bring this up. It's really interesting because he's only 17. Sorry, being called up to the under-19s, which is great news. He'll probably be in and around the first team next year. He had a great season with the under-18s. He's only 17. So he was a starter. They drew 0-0 against Ukraine. Completing 76 minutes. It's good to see that. Is there any more news on LFC? Let me have a look. See if there's any more news. Obviously, we got some more photos of the lads back, which I can share. You got Robbo, Dom, Jaros. I think Jaros, it's an interesting season for him. Obviously, you got Mo, Harvey, Bobby Clark, Stefan. I'm not sure about Carvalho and Sepp. Sepp looks unhappy. Bradley's there's Curtis Jones, obviously talking to Dom. It is interesting. Also, we can also talk about Mac as well, because over the last couple of years, over the last 2 years, Mac's got World Cup, Copa America, and a Carabao Cup. He's starting to look like a winner. He's starting to get some more trophies. That's an interesting one. That he's now been introduced into the into the under-18s, Prince Cisse. I believe he's a left back or a striker. He's obviously Djibril Cisse's son. I think he's only 15 or 16. He can obviously play for England or France. I don't know if Jaros is homegrown, you know. I don't know. Yeah, I agree. Gahey and Quansah could be our centre-back pairings. If Gahey does come in, I do feel Canate could be sacrificed. He's obviously got a contract coming up. I think he's got 2 years left, Canate, so he's got a contract coming up. He's just injury prone. Like he basically missed out on the French squad because he was sick. Like he was just sick. Like, so, you know, he ended up losing his space and couldn't get it back and didn't play because he was ill. Like he seems like a bit of a wuss, if I'm honest. Like he seems like he ducks out of games because he's ill. Like just put some man pants on and bloody get on with it. But I don't want those players at Liverpool. I just don't. You need to have warriors. Not going to win the league without them. Like Man City players are never bloody injured. Like Man City play the same team every single time. Like they've got a smaller squad than us, and they've got a smaller.
Yeah, and they've got a smaller group of players that they play. So, you know, we need to build a squad like that. I think it's important. I think that's the reason why we actually got Slot in the first place, because we wanted a manager that could manage a team and have less injuries, and that works for me. Also wanted to talk a little bit about Cody Gakpo as well. Obviously, he got the golden boot, but he shared it with a load of other players. I thought he was really hard done by, because I don't know why they didn't give him that goal. Like, it deflected off their player, but Cody Gakpo was kicking him. Like he kicked the player to kick the ball in. It should be his goal, and he should have got golden boot, but it is what it is. I mean, in the last two international tournaments, there's only one player that scored more goals than him, and that's Kylian Mbappe. Cody Gakpo's on 6 goals, Kylian Mbappe's on 9, because Kylian Mbappe had that incredible final where he scored a hat-trick. So Cody Gakpo's a big performer. I think he'll have a great season next season. I think he'll be on the left side, or Slot might want to play him down the centre. We'll see. I can't wait to see him in pre-season. It'll be interesting. We've got a number of players that will be coming back for training soon. I haven't got much else to cover. Hope you're all well. Hope you have a great rest of your day. I'll do another video in the next couple of days, and if there's any more updates, then we can talk about them. But the biggest news is Gareth Southgate has quit England, so England will probably be on the phone to Jurgen Klopp trying to get him. If it's not Jurgen Klopp, then it'll probably be a Graham Potter. I think he'll be an obvious choice. But I think England will be in safe hands if they get Klopp. Klopp will get all of those attacking players to cook. It would be a great appointment. It would be great if Jurgen did that, because it looks like Nagelsmann's going to do the World Cup, and then he's going to move into club football again. So getting Jurgen would be a great coup, and we'll see if see if the FA pull the finger out and get it done. If not, I think Graham Potter would be still all right. He was a bit hard done by at Chelsea, but it is what it is. Or maybe they go for Pochettino. Who knows? But hope you have a rest of your days good. If you haven't liked and subscribed, please do. And I'll also put a link to my music as well in the chat if you want to check out any of my music. I'll put the link in there as well. And I will catch you on the other side. Up the Reds.
Just hold me tight, no words I needed. No one knows me like you. Love the way you do. Just hold me tight, no words I needed. Just hold me tight, no words I needed. No one knows me like you. Love the way you do. Just hold me tight, no words I needed. Just hold me tight, no words I needed. No one knows me like you. Love the way you do. Just hold me tight, no words I needed.